Good afternoon, dear guests. Welcome to MURCIR Wednesday Talks. Today we have a very prominent researcher in our Wednesday Talk series. As you know, we are trying to follow international agenda and all developments, what's happening around the world. And one of the most important topic and very sad happening we can observe in Gaza. And I think we need to talk more about Gaza in these days, especially after. Time to leave the floor, dear professor. Welcome again to our session. The floor is yours.
Okay, well, thanks very much, Professor Zohal. It's a pleasure to be with you, and it's an honor to be in this presentation with you and with your colleagues. Our topic today is the Gaza Strip, the day after the war. That is the title of our topic. Before I go into the details of my topic, which is the day after the war, let me just give a brief introduction about the Gaza Strip in terms of population, geography, and politics of the Gaza Strip. Let me start by saying that Gaza is located on the southern west coast of former Palestine. Its territory is no more than 365 square kilometers, so it's a very small territory, and its current population is about 2.2 million Palestinians. There are some estimates which is more or less of that number, but we have to take into consideration that more than 71,000 Palestinians have been killed in the Gaza Strip since October 7 of 2023 as a result of the Israeli war against Gaza, and also roughly 100,000 Palestinians also evacuated Gaza during the war. So the number of the Palestinians is, I know it's more than 2 million Palestinians, but again, as I mentioned, we have to take into consideration those figures in terms of those who evacuate Gaza during the war, those who have been killed, and also the Palestinians who are planning to leave for medical treatment outside the Gaza Strip. Another point to be mentioned here is that the Palestinians occupied territories, which is where the Palestinians are asking for a Palestinian independent and sovereign state, is in the Gaza Strip and also the West Bank. The West Bank, which is on the west of the Jordan River. Its size is much bigger than the Gaza Strip. It's about 5,500 square kilometers, so it's about 15 times the territory of the Gaza Strip with East Jerusalem. So, but that's what constitute what we call it the future independent state of Palestine. Going back to Gaza, now Gaza was under complete Israeli occupation, military occupation between 1967 until the establishment of the Palestinian Authority, which was established in the summer of 1994 after the signing of the Oslo agreement that was signed between the Palestine Liberation Organization, which is the sole legitimate representative of the Palestinians, and also the State of Israel. They signed the Oslo Agreement in September of 1993, which led to the establishment of the Palestinian Authority, which is a self-rule government that is responsible for the Palestinians in both West Bank and Gaza. And the Palestinian Authority continued to control both parts of the Gaza Strip and the West Bank until Israel decided to disengage completely from the Gaza Strip. The Israeli army redeployed and left the Gaza Strip completely in September, early September of 2005. A few months later, Palestinian elections were held in which Hamas, the Islamic resistance movement, won a landslide victory in the Palestinian parliamentary elections in January 2006, which led for the first time an Islamist movement is in control of the Palestinian territories as a result of Hamas winning a landslide victory in January of 2006 and Hamas refusal to recognize Israel. Israel and the international community, or what we call it, the quartet. The quartet was made of US, UN, Russian Federation, and European Union, EU. They came up with three conditions, or what they call them three bills, in order to engage with Hamas government, which was formed after the Palestinian elections. These three conditions or principles were recognizing Israel, renouncing the so-called terrorism or violence, and also accepting agreements between the people and Israel. Mainly, we're talking about the Oslo Agreement. Hamas refused to acknowledge these three conditions or these principles, and as a result, Israel imposed a siege on the Gaza Strip to put pressure on Hamas to accept the Quartet Three principles. Anyway, a year and a half after Palestinian elections, Hamas, in a short-lived civil war with the security services of the Palestinian Authority, they took over completely the Gaza Strip and very much kicked out the Palestinian Authority and its security services from Gaza to the West Bank. And as a result of Hamas taking over the Gaza Strip in the summer of 2007, Israel designated Gaza, all of the Gaza Strip, as a hostile entity and imposed a very severe and tough siege on the Gaza Strip, which very much limited movement in and out of the Gaza Strip for the more than 2 million Palestinians, and also limited the number of goods and services allowed into Gaza. And basically, Gaza between 2007 and until October 7 of 2023 became classified as the largest open-air prison on earth as a result of this Israeli siege and blockade that was imposed on Gaza from the summer of 2007 until basically now. But what I was trying to say that what were the conditions that led to the October 7 attack by Hamas and other groups, which very much was the results again of a tight Israeli siege and blockade that very much limited the access and movement in and out of Gaza and turned Gaza into a very formidable place at that time. Again, these were some of the conditions basically led to the attack on October 7 of 2023, which led an Israeli war against Gaza that went on for more than 2 years, from October 7, 2023, all the way until October 10th of 2025 of last year, until a ceasefire was brokered or an end to the war was brokered by US President Donald Trump, who put an end to the war with his plan of the 20-point plan of President Trump. Again, as a result of that war, more up until now, to the best of my knowledge, 71,800 Palestinians have been killed as a result of this Israeli war against Gaza. More than 171,000 Palestinians have been injured. 85% of the Gaza Strip has been completely destroyed. 85% of homes, schools, mosques, hospitals, infrastructure, you name it. So basically, what Israel did over the past 2 years is to make Gaza not a livable place. One of the Israeli political agenda was to destroy Gaza, where it becomes impossible to live with no homes, again, no homes, no schools, no medical entities to treat the Palestinians, and that would, according to Israel, push the Palestinians into what they call it voluntary migration out of the Gaza Strip. Now, conditions in Gaza have been catastrophic over the past 2 years, and they have been also catastrophic over the past few months. Even with ceasefire, more than 500 Palestinians have been killed since October 11 of 2025. Even with the ceasefire, with the end of the war, officially that more than 500 Palestinians have been killed by Israel. Many others injured. Even this morning, to the best of my knowledge, 13 Palestinians have been killed today by Israel. A few days ago, there were about 18 Palestinians also who were killed. But again, over about a period of almost 4 months now, since October 11th of 2025, more than 500 Palestinians have been killed, even with a ceasefire in place. Let me move and focus a little bit on what has happened since the ceasefire. President Donald Trump, with the help and push by 8 Arab and Islamic countries. Turkey was one of them. Turkey, Indonesia, and Pakistan were the three Islamic countries, in addition to 5 Arab countries: Egypt, Jordan, Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, and Qatar. They all met. These 8 Arab and Islamic countries met with President Donald Trump on September 29 of 2025 on the sidelines of the UN annual meeting. And on that meeting, they put a pressure on the US to put an end to this war, to put an end to the catastrophe that is taking place in the Gaza Strip. And that meeting came after the failed Israeli attack against Hamas leadership in Qatar. It was about a month after that attack that Israel targeted the Hamas political leadership in Qatar. So to these Arab and Islamic countries, that was a red line that was crossed, because Qatar was hosting negotiations between Israel and Hamas to try to broker a ceasefire. And Israel, but in a way, they went and tried to kill the Hamas leadership, who were based in Qatar at that time. So that put again pressure on the US to intervene. So President Trump came up with this 20 point plan that put an end to the war. We have a ceasefire, and some elements of the plan is that Gaza will be rebuilt, will be reconstructed for the sake of the Palestinians who are still in the Gaza Strip. And also the plan stated clearly that there will be no Israeli military occupation of Gaza. There will be no Israeli annexation of the Gaza Strip. The Palestinians will not be expelled out of Gaza, and anyone from the Gaza Strip can leave Gaza, and if they decide to go back, they are free to go back. That is stated clearly in the Trump 20 points plan. And also, again, unlike previous statement by President Trump that the US, as he spoke in February of 2025 when he met for the first time with Prime Minister Netanyahu after he was elected, Trump spoke about expelling the Palestinians and making Gaza the Riviera of the Middle East. But again, in the 20-point plan, he stated clearly that Gaza will be rebuilt and reconstructed for the sake of the Palestinians who live in the Gaza Strip. Now, part of the ceasefire, 4 different entities have been established. These entities are the following: a Palestinian technical committee, which is a Palestinian, it's called the National Committee for the Administration of Gaza, or the Gaza Technical Committee. This committee was established last month from Palestinian professionals, Palestinian technocrats that are not associated with Hamas or associated with the Palestinian Authority. That was one of the Israeli conditions, that this committee will have to be independent from political factions, will come from Palestinian professionals and technocrats. So a Palestinian committee was established and led by Dr. Ali Sha'ath, who used to be former deputy minister in the Palestinian Authority, and there are also other former Palestinian ministers in this committee. So this committee, which again was established last month, is supposedly is going to be responsible for daily life in Gaza, providing education, healthcare, municipal services, and also rebuilding and construction of Gaza. But unfortunately, until now, this committee has been prevented from going back to the Gaza Strip. Even though this committee is made of 12 members, 6 of them came from, 3 of them came from Palestinians who were in the West Bank, 3 are Palestinians from Gaza who were outside the Gaza Strip, and 6 came from the Gaza Strip about a month ago. But up until now, Israel is preventing this Gaza Technical Committee from going back to Gaza, and basically trying to impede and sabotage its work. Now, this Palestinian Technocratic Committee will be overseen, or will be reporting to something is called the Executive Council, and this Executive Council is going to be headed by the former Bulgarian diplomat Nikolai Miladinov, who used to be a UN Special Coordinator for the Middle East peace process, and who knows the area, knows the Gaza Strip. He dealt with Hamas in the past and dealt with the Palestinian Authority. So the Gaza Technical Committee will be reporting to this Executive Council that will be led by Miladinov, and this council is consisted of dignitaries from the US and also from the region. To the best of my knowledge, this council, or the Executive Council, is also made of US politicians like Kushner, Jared Kushner, Steve Witkoff, and also they have leaders from the region, the Turkish Foreign Minister Hakan Fidan, and also a personality from Qatar, Mohammed al-Thawadi, a personality also from United Arab Emirates, Reem al-Hashmi, and also the head of Egyptian General and Intelligence Minister Hassan Rashad. So it's a council that is made of American regional personalities. It does also include an Israeli businessman or an Israeli personality in this council. But above all these two bodies, the Gaza Technical Committee and the Executive Council, there is a higher entity that is called Board of Peace, which is headed by US President Donald Trump, and it does include other US and other international personalities. So the Board of Peace, which was approved by the UN in a UN Security Council resolution number 2803, but when the UN approved this Board of Peace, it was designated for the Gaza Strip, designated to put an end to the war in Gaza, and also to be responsible for rebuilding and reconstructing of the Gaza Strip. But as we have heard from President Donald Trump at the Davos World Economic Forum, he spoke that this World of Peace will be also responsible for other conflict areas that arises in the world. It has been argued that in some circles that in a way that this Board of Peace is a way by the US to try to basically replace the UN Security Council because many countries were invited to be members of the Board of Peace, and one of the conditions to be permanent members in the Board of Peace that these countries will have to pay $1 billion US dollars. Anyway, this is not our topic here. Going again into the Gaza Strip, that these three bodies, again, the Board of Peace, the Executive Council, and the Gaza Technical Committee, and a fourth entity that is to be established is the so-called the International Stabilization Force. According to the 20-point plan that was adopted by President Donald Trump and also adopted by the UN Security Council Resolution 2803, is the establishment of an international stabilization force that is to be deployed in the Gaza Strip to oversee the ceasefire between Israel and Hamas and Palestinian factions, and also stabilize the Gaza Strip. Unfortunately, up until now, not too many countries have pledged to be part of the ISF, the International Stabilization Force. To the best of knowledge, there are only 4 countries who have pledged forces up until now: Italy, Azerbaijan, Kosovo, and Albania. These are the only 4 countries who have pledged to send troops to be deployed in the Gaza Strip, because these countries and other countries who have refrained from being part of the ISF, they don't want the ISF to be in conflict with the Palestinians. They don't want to see their own soldiers or troops in coalition with Palestinian factions or Palestinian fighters. And as King Abdullah II of Jordan, he said that the ISF should be peacekeeping force, not a peace imposing force, meaning that it should monitor peace between Israel and the Palestinians, and it should not be engaged in, for example, disarming Hamas or disarming the other Palestinian groups, meaning that disarming the Palestinian factions will result in fighting between ISF and the Palestinians. And that's why many Arab countries so far have refrained from participating or pledging to participate in the ISF. Let me also add one piece of information, is that the Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu have basically vetoed any Turkish participation in the ISF. Turkey expressed its willingness to send the troops and to be part of ISF as a peacekeeping force. But Netanyahu is very much, he had publicly said that he's very suspicious of any Turkish move. We all know that Turkey has accused Israel of genocide in the Gaza Strip, and Turkish-Israeli relations are not in their best conditions right now. So this is, and basically there are many Israeli elements who are accusing Turkey of sponsoring Hamas as an Islamist organization. Also, in the meantime, Israel isn't happy about any Qatari involvement in the day after in the Gaza Strip or in the future of Gaza. We all know that Qatar before October 7 used to pay roughly $30 million US with the approval of Israel, with the approval of Netanyahu personally, to try to alleviate the daily life conditions of Gaza and the 2 million Palestinians before October 7. Now Netanyahu is being blamed in Israel and by the Israeli opposition that by allowing Qatari cash to flow into the Gaza Strip that led to the attack on October 7. So again, Qatar is not welcomed by Israel to be part of ISF or to play part in the day after in the Gaza Strip. But we have basically to wait. It seems to me that we are going to see maybe within the next week or so that the US or President Donald Trump will declare the establishment of ISF. We already know that who's going to be heading this force. Already President Trump declared the name of a 3-star general from the US Army, Givers, that's what his name, I think, he's going to be heading the ISF, which again will be responsible for monitoring the ceasefire and ending the war between Israel and the Palestinian factions. Now, let's say that Israel is up until now is trying to basically keep the Palestinians divided. Yesterday, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu was basically saying that the Palestinian Gaza Technical Committee will not have any relationship with the Palestinian Authority based in Ramallah in the West Bank, and that the Gaza Technical Committee should operate completely without connection to the Palestinian Authority. Let me add one piece of information here is that and one of Netanyahu's main strategic elements over the past almost 20 years, he has been trying to keep the Palestinians divided politically and keep the Palestinians apart. And that's why he has been insisting that the Gaza Technical Committee will not be reporting to the Palestinian Authority, will not be even there was an Israeli argument yesterday that the Gaza Technical Committee is using the logo of the Palestinian Authority, and that to Israel was not acceptable. Part of Netanyahu and the Israeli government is to keep the Palestinians divided because before October 7, Netanyahu was basically saying that the Palestinians were divided, the Palestinians are no partner to peace, and that gave Netanyahu and the Israelis an excuse not to engage in any serious peace negotiations with the Palestinians. And now again, it seems to me that the situation is very, very complicated up until now, meaning that it seems to me that no one knows where things are going to develop, meaning that
Suppose we lost the connection. Professor Abusada, can you hear us? Professor Abusada? I suppose it's not because of my connection.
Yes, Hojam, we are listening to you very well. It's a matter of
okay, we lost
Gaza.
Speaker. Yes, it's understandable. Now he's coming back. Thanks for
try to rejoin.
Sorry. Again, what I mean by Palestinian, what we mean for the Palestinians, reform means reforming the Palestinian Authority by conducting democratic and transparent elections for the presidency and also for the parliament, where the Palestinians can have a credible political institutions, the presidency, the parliamentary institutions, and also the judiciary. But for Israel and the US, reforming the PA means that the PA will basically change its educational curriculum, meaning that it has to be curriculum that is compatible with recognizing Israel as a Jewish state. For example, they need reforming the PA that must put an end to sponsoring Palestinian families with martyrs, those who lost their loved ones over the past 60 years. The PA cannot pay these families any subsidies or any financial help. They need also the PA to stop paying Palestinian prisoners over the past 57 years since the occupation of Gaza. Roughly more than 750,000 Palestinians have been jailed by Israel, in and out of jail. So some of those Palestinians, like Marwan al-Barghouthi, who is a leading Palestinian figure and serving multiple life sentences inside Israel right now, Israeli jails. Many like Marwan Barghouthi have spent years in jail, and the PA has sponsored their families. So Israel see that as Israel consider sponsoring the families of martyrs or families of prisoners as terrorist acts, and they want the PA to stop doing that. So again, what I was trying to say here is that once the PA is reformed according to Israeli and American standards, then the PA can basically hold elections in the West Bank and Gaza and see a unified Palestinian political system. But that doesn't seem to me that that's going to be the case. It seems to me that Israel is trying to do its best to keep the Palestinians divided. And let me just add one piece of information. Even though that the war, as I mentioned earlier, came to an end, officially came to an end on October 10th of 2025, but still Israeli bombardment of Gaza is continuing up until this day. Israeli killing of Palestinian civilians. More than 500 Palestinians have been killed over the past 4 months. Also, destroying Palestinian homes and infrastructure is going until now. And the latest sad story that has been happening over the past 3 days is both that Israel pressure from the US and also under pressure from the mediators, mainly from Egypt, Qatar, and also Turkey, decided to open the Rafah crossing, which is the only crossing point between Gaza and the outside. And Netanyahu was insisting that Rafah will be opened only in one direction, meaning that Palestinians who are in Gaza and want to leave Gaza, they can leave, but the crossing will not be open for Palestinians to come back to Gaza, because still on the political agenda of Netanyahu is to expel the Palestinians from Gaza. But as I mentioned, the last point here is that even with the opening of
Again, we lost connection.
of the tension that is going in Gaza, and over the past 2 days, very limited number of Palestinians were allowed to get out of Gaza or come back to Gaza. According to the director of World Health Organization yesterday, he indicated that there are 18,500 Palestinians who need medical treatment out of Gaza. We're talking about cancer patients, chronic diseases, people with injuries from the war. The kind of medical treatment that they need is not available in Gaza, and they need to be transferred out of the Gaza Strip. And if the current Israeli mechanism, which is limiting the number of Palestinians who are leaving Gaza and coming back to Gaza, will probably lead some of those Palestinian sick people will die as a result of waiting until they are allowed to leave Gaza. To the best of my knowledge, there are hundreds of Palestinians who died as a result of ill treatment and as a result of not being able to get out of Gaza for medical treatment in Egypt and other countries. I know that Turkey has taken some of those Palestinian medical cases. Many of these cases have been treated in Egypt, also Qatar, United Arab Emirates. But again, the problem that the limitation that is imposed on movement of the Palestinians and movement of those sick people who are waiting to be allowed to leave Gaza for medical treatment. Let me stop at this point, and I will be more than happy to answer any question that will arise. Thanks again for hosting me.
Thank you very much for your very explaining speech about the existing situation. Actually, all we are following very closely what is happening in Gaza, especially from a very humanitarian perspective. All of us are very disturbed, and still we are talking about the limits of violence. It's much beyond the threshold of this violence, use of violence in Gaza. So, and it's very clear, as you explained in your presentation, we are not going so successful in the ceasefire process. at least the lives of people in Gaza is still very in a tragic condition. So maybe it's important to open, not beneficial for anybody in the region. So I hope there will be a better future for everybody in the region. Our all prayers with you, with Palestinians. And we are always ready for supporting the people in Gaza. Thank you very much for your attendance and for your valuable speech. And we hope to see you again in another Wednesday Talks. Thank you very much.
Thank you. It's a pleasure and honor to be with you. Thank you
Thank
very
you
much.
very much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Have a nice day. Bye-bye.